Secretary, if you could take our attendance.
Okay, Chair,
Present.
Vice Chair, Treasurer, and let's see now,
Present.
Secretary.
Sorry,
I'm here.
I was presente. Sorry, I was muted.
Okay, affiliates.
Take it.
Yeah, okay. Campaigns.
Here.
Yeah. Communications.
Here.
Yeah. Fundraising.
Jen Markovich.
Here.
Yeah. Legislative.
Here.
Membership. And outreach.
Present.
Outreach. Did I hear that? Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm present.
Okay, thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. I'm going to open the floor for public comment. I know that we have a guest on here, Ron, I believe. Well, actually, I'll call on James Wiley. He's got a time-sensitive issue. Mr. Wiley.
Hey, thank you so much. I'll just take a quick 30 seconds, 1 minute here. I submitted my report to the executive committee, kind of summarizing all the activities of the Libertarian Party over the last month. It's been exciting. This moment we're in right now, I just want to make an analogy, like when in the horror movie or the thriller or whatever, when everybody realizes they're all of a sudden in piranha infested waters. That's what the Uniparty is feeling like. They've been at the beach party, they went swimming, and then the piranhas smell blood. That's us. There's blood in the water. Time for the frenzy. So what happens after this moment? The surface of the water becomes very disturbed. There's a lot of activity, a lot of chaos, and the storm comes. So whether it's piranhas or sharks or however you want to look at it, things are going to get really exciting real quick here because our enemies are weak. We are strong. And let's destroy them. If anybody has questions, feel free to reach out to me directly, but thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Wiley, and for your work this past month. You've been such a lifesaver. Do we have any other guests who would like to make public comment?
I'm Frank Atwood.
Mr. Atwood, you have the floor.
I'm your liaison to Center Right Coalition that met here this morning here at Independence Institute. A couple of topics that were covered by them was, I believe, Bob Barr, who was the 2008 presidential candidate of the Libertarian Party, is now the executive director of the NRA. It may be a different Bob Barr, but I think that's what I heard this morning. The other is that Independence Institute is paying for interns. They've taken on a couple for the summer. We'll see what happens. Another is Kathleen Chandler, who's with the Independence Institute, is running for RTD board. I think it's F or J, and she needs 250 signatures. The fourth item is that Republican Archuleta is running in Congressional District 1 and is apparently having problems with Dave Williams, the GOP Colorado chair. I don't fully understand that. But the last item is that for the month of July, the Center Right Coalition is taking a sabbatical and we'll be back in August. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Atwood. If Mr. Archuleta would like to change parties, we would surely take him, as we don't care if people are gay. Also, it was great fun being on the same debate stage as you. We had a lot of fun. That was so much fun. I'm glad we both got to go. So I hope that you enjoyed that as much as I did.
Yes, yes, I did, ma'am. And apparently, other minor parties, I think Forward and Center either Center Party or Unity Party is carding Archuleta also. So we'll have to start elbowing hard to get to the front of the line. And a pleasure being on stage with you. Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Vance, your hand is raised.
Yeah, just a quick question for Ms. Goodman and Mr. Atwood. How much of a battle between the two third parties would it be for the affiliation of Mr. Archuleta? Between the
So-
approval vote? Yeah.
He knows better than to come to the approval voting party or the other two that I might have mentioned. So I think he recognizes that the Libertarians are the party of social acceptance and fiscal conservative. And I think he's also enjoying being in a fight with Dave Williams.
Amen. You're not wrong.
Pardon me, ma'am?
I said, you're definitely not wrong on that.
Okay. I think that concludes my time.
Perfect. Thank you. I know that we have another guest on the line that was intending to speak tonight. Is that Mr. Ron? Is that who you invited, Mr. Aiken?
Yes.
Sorry, Madam Chair. It looks like Ron can't unmute for some reason, so he's having issues with activating the mic and the camera.
Well, I undid it from it says, I enabled it. Technology is not for me. Mr. Savoy, are you able to assist?
Yeah, I see the same thing when I click the dots. It says disable camera, disable mic. So if I clicked it, it would disable it. And now somebody clicked mic. Yeah, so.
Oops.
Try now, Ron.
Yeah, I was gonna just say maybe leave and re-enter because I can see from the icon that like Erin just joined the meeting and hers you can see the disabled icon next on her microphone symbol. Ron's just has the off, so he definitely is enabled.
So yes, leave and come back. Yes, I'll wait. I'll hold the meeting.
I just had to get gas, and I saw this lady heard you guys talking, and she's like, "Are you on a board meeting?" And she's on the board for this guy. I was like, "Oh my goodness."
Well, we know him very well.
I know.
Okay.
Tell her we don't associate with the police or talk to them.
I wasn't gonna say that. I was trying to get her money.
Is it me? Okay.
Alrighty, Ron. Hopefully you could unmute this
Oh, I
time. I
see
see
you.
that the logo is on.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Loud and clear. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I left and just came back. And I appreciate your time. I know you guys are very time sensitive. I've got a couple minutes, but I'm for those of you that don't know me, I'm a former state rep, state senator, Democrat from Boulder. And I've been unaffiliated for about a year and a half. I'm now a Unity Party candidate for Congress in CD7. So I'm with the Unity Party. I left my party, the Democratic Party. And I applaud you guys. I appreciate what you're doing. I always have. David Atkin could probably tell you, I'm a fan of all third parties. I'm actually the one that passed the legislation that allows the Libertarians and all the other minor third parties to get on the ballot easier. Thank you. Back in the day, even when I was a Democrat, I always supported more voices. The reason, thanks. The reason that I'm here is because I hope you guys are opposing Initiative 310, which I didn't know anything about until a couple days ago. I knew that Kent Theory was working on ranked choice voting. And I generally support ranked choice voting. I support what that's all about. Certainly that would help all third parties if we could do it a normal way. But if you haven't read the measure, which is Initiative 310, I did. It'll take you about 15 minutes to go through it all, maybe a little longer. But specifically, the downside for you guys and for all third parties and for any unaffiliated candidate who does not have money. The downside is it not only allows ranked choice voting in November, which we probably would support, but to get there, you have to get through an all-candidate primary in June. So every other year, there's going to be an all-candidate primary for all these races in June. And the top 4 candidates that make it out of that primary, top 4 vote getters, move on to the general election, where they can do ranked choice voting. So you guys can understand as a minor party the downside for your minor party and every minor party. The Democrats and Republicans will game this immediately when it passes, and they will put up 2 candidates, even in unwinnable seats now, 2 candidates for every race, so that hopefully their candidates go on to the fall ballot, where it's going to be ranked choice voting. So the reason why this is bad for you, it's bad for all third parties, is you probably won't be on the ballot anymore in November. Not for any race of significance. You might be on races that are 80-20, 70-30, but you're not going to be on any ballot where there's a 60-40 split anymore. So I think you guys are smart. You're the smartest third party in the state. You guys are the strongest third party in the state. You always have been. I hope that you will come out against this. I've contacted all the minor parties to come out against this, and I can speak for the Unity Party. We're against it. I've been in touch with League of Women Voters. I hope they're against it. So this helps Kent Theory run for governor in 2 years. As an unaffiliated candidate, that's what he's going to do. So it certainly helps people with money in the fall ballot, but it's not going to help third-party candidates. So do you have any questions?
Thank you so much for your presentation. I've been working with Linda Templin of Ranked Choice Voting since before when this initially got started, and the Ranked Choice Voting Party here in Colorado doesn't support it, and they were huge advocates for us and all third parties in the meetings I sat in. Last month we had Linda Opines from the Good Initiatives, and she went deeply through it with us, and we're working really hard to fight this through petitions and things like that. So I really value the work you've done to help us with our ballot access. What a wonderful gift for liberty. I really value that. Thank you so much for your hard work, and thank you so much for bringing this to us tonight. I really appreciate it. Mr. Vance, I see your hand raised. Do you have a question for our guest?
Yes, Mr. Tuba, thank you for hopping on board with us today. I want to ask you really quick. As Ms. Goodman mentioned, we spoke with the Good Initiative group last month. What kind of organization do you know of besides the Good Initiative that is going on currently? Because I agree, we all need to kind of come together. My role as legislative director is to bring people together on single issue coalitions, whether you're Republican or Democrat. This is no different whatsoever. So I'm just wondering, what ways do you know of that we can all kind of get together and really start organizing now to really fight this thing come November?
Well, that's a great question. And Hannah, I am relieved to hear, Dave Atkin and I go back years. Actually, Dave Atkin was one of the reasons why you guys have greater ballot access. He's one of the big guys behind that law. Judd Patak. Does anybody remember Judd? He's the guy that filed the lawsuit.
I'm familiar with the name, but I didn't live in Colorado at the time.
Yeah, he's the Libertarian that filed the lawsuit that we passed that law in 1995. So 1995 and then 1998. So we helped out you guys a lot. But the reason I'm giving you guys so much praise, it's not to just feather your nest and, whatever. The reason I'm doing that is because you all are the most organized, active, powerful third-party group. I mean, and I say that hands down. I say that as a former Democrat, but as a Unity Party candidate. I want your voice to stay every fall on the ballot. I'd love it if we got Greens every fall. I'd love it if we got everybody every fall. So you at least recognized, Hannah, the danger of this. It literally eliminates you in the fall. So thank you. Let's join together, Michael. What I want to do is I've contacted all the minor parties. I'm relieved to hear that you guys are opposed. The bad news is I think Forward Party is not opposed. I think they're in favor. and Kent Theory's money goes very deep. So Represent Us is supported by Kent Theory, a lot of money, a lot of money. If League of Women Voters is against this, that will be very beneficial for us. If they're against this, that will be very helpful. I've been in touch with the Greens. As I understand it, the Democrats might be opposed as a party. That would help us if they were opposed. I don't have any contacts really with the Republican Party. You guys do. If they are opposed to this, they are?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. So we can kind of present a united front against it. I'm not saying in an organized fashion because that would require money and you got to set up something at the state of Colorado. And I'm not talking about any of that. And I certainly don't have any money to give to that. But I will talk to the Democrats at least and ask them. And they're probably most worried because, as you guys know, we're a blue state. So they're most worried about that. And they don't want people like Kent Theory winning. So, and they wouldn't want your, and they hate, they don't like your candidates either, except when they help Democrats win. So if you don't mind, Hannah, I can be in touch with you. I can be in touch with Michael. I can be in touch with David about just how this is proceeding. But I would tell your members right now not to sign 310. Do not sign 310. It's a simple ballot initiative. It only needs a simple majority to pass, which means they only need about 100,000 signatures to get it on the ballot. Kent Theory will pay to get it on the ballot. It's probably going to get on the ballot. But if we can speak collectively against it, my party meets officially in 2 weekends. Once I get the official opposition, I will tell you guys, and you guys can say Unity Party's against this, whatever, anytime you speak out. And then if it's okay for you, can I say that the Libertarian Party's against it?
Yes.
Okay. So let's start there, and then let me just follow up. I'll let you guys get back to your meeting, but you've made my night. I appreciate your great work on this.
Thank you. Mr. Loria, I think, had a question for you as well, and I skipped him.
No problem. I lost it for a minute and I remembered it. Ron, thank you very much. I was reading, when I read through the entire bill, I was instantly against it. In that article, though, it mentioned that their governor might be able to pass something to stop it should it get passed. Do you know if there's any legality to that? Is there a stopgap or a backup if this does actually make it past the ballot in November?
So another great question. You probably read the article. There was a big article in the Denver Post about this.
Yeah, I had to message a lot of libertarians who are going against the article, making them understand we can't be for this, because we could also lose our ballot access as a minor party. If we can't run any statewide candidates, then we lose our status as a minor party, and that minor party law no longer affects us anyways.
Right. And you guys are smart enough to know this. I know you're smart enough to know this. Don't trust anything you hear from anybody that's going to tell you something that might be beneficial to you. Read through it first. And I can tell you, like I said, this is deadly for all third parties. It's a deadly ballot measure. But if it were to pass, because it's a statutory measure, if it were to pass, the Democrats can completely undo it again in the legislature with the help of the Republicans. I have to check the legalities of this, and I can't remember if there's a time limit by which you can't tinker with a citizens initiative, or if it's an immediate tinkering. Does anybody remember? Mr. Atkin, do you remember this?
I don't know. That sort of
There might
rings a bell.
there might be a 3-year cooling off period. Like you can't mess with the citizens initiative for 3 years, 3 to 5 or something like that. If that's the case, then yes, they can't tinker with it. But if that's not there, they can overdo it like in January.
Okay. Mr. Savoy, does somebody have their hand raised in the meeting space?
And Mr. Atwood with the approval voting party. And Ron, we'd like to also be part with the Libertarians as totally agree with you to try to kill this. I am concerned that Steve Urash with the Center Party is supportive of it. I believe he attended the kickoff that took place noon today. So
yeah, Frank, I appreciate you being there. I didn't know how much you're working with the Libertarians, but it's a relief to hear that you're also opposed to it. I did talk to Steve Urash. I emailed him extensively back and forth, and he's drinking the Kool-Aid. He actually thinks this is going to help his candidacy. I said, Steve, it kills your minor party. You're dead. Yeah. But he thinks, well, if he can get on the ballot in this all-candidate primary and get to the general, I said, Steve, you're going to be able to do that in any unwinnable race, but you can do that now. That doesn't benefit you. It kills your party. So you got 2 people against this. You got the center forward party, and you've got the center party and forward party. They're for it.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time and your energy. We really appreciate it and the work that you've done for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. I'll be in touch. Dave Atkin, good to see you again.
Yep, you too.
Thank you, Ron.
Keep up the good work, guys.
All right. Now we move on to approval of the agenda. You all received a copy of the agenda. So my agenda actually has nothing for new business. Mr. Buss.
There was 2 things. I sent one out as an update on Sunday, and there was the Miss Stanky wants to talk about a resolution, and we have to formulate the Beetham resignation.
Okay. All right. So I'll do the resignation first and then the resolution. Is there any additions to the agenda? I see that there was something in the chat, Alicia, that you put. Do you want to do that?
We can add that in. You want to add that in, Alicia?
Or was that you that wrote that? I don't know. I'm done.
Hey, Madam
Was.
Chair, it was me, and yes, if time allows, I would like to add that at the end of the meeting, or at during new business. Thank you.
Okay. Is there any objection to this agenda?
No?
All right. There's no objection. So moving on to the approval of the minutes. With the agenda, we were sent out meeting minutes. I hope everyone was able to read them. Is there any corrections that need to be made to those minutes? All right, hearing none, that's good. Mr. Buss, we have not passed convention minutes.
I don't have the convention minutes. Andrew has the convention, and every time I nudge him along, it's going to be coming. It's coming.
Well,
I'm here to answer for my crimes today, and can say that now that National Convention is over and I don't have deadlines on a new CRM to meet, I will have this done very shortly. I apologize for everyone. You'll have these by the next meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Bukovich. Otherwise, execution.
Andy, I will hide you if I need to. As people once hid my people, I will hide you. I-
I think that is not the
Okay.
J word pass.
He will hide you, but I will find you. You will be hiding under the floorboards, won't you? Okay. So you got that. Okay. Reports from, do we have any affiliate representation tonight that would like to speak on behalf of their affiliate?
I can speak on behalf. We met with we don't have a candidate in one of the House races in Jeffco. We met with a Republican candidate who was, I think we all decided, a kind of underwhelming ex-police officer. He spoke pretty heavily in favor of qualified immunity, which I don't think, he didn't really know his audience. So I'm not sure he's going to end up getting any of the individual support that he was really hoping for. We are continuing to have our meetings on the third Thursday of every month. So this month, our next meeting would be the 20th next week. And we just redid our board elections. Everyone essentially stayed in the position that they are currently, and we are kind of looking at how to reformat our meetings and trying, like we were doing when Ross Clough was the chair, is to have more speakers and to do business.
You're cutting out. You're Mr. Laurier, you're
Jeffco
cutting out.
County issue.
Okay.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
And so we'd like to have at our meetings a speaker, either some kind of inspiring person in the liberty sphere or someone local to talk about a local issue, and then get volunteers, mobilize people at the meeting as part of business to go to certain city council meetings or tackle certain issues. Because we aren't a very large group, but we figure if we don't have a lot of candidates we can run, we can kind of make up for that by becoming known figures in the community, and then maybe that can propel people in the future to be more successful.
That's exactly how I started. That's my recommendation for everyone. I love it. I love fighting legislation on the local level. It's so fun, and the connections you make there, that's how I get around Colorado. It all starts local, so I love that strategy. Well done. I see a hand raised in the board, in the Independence Institute.
So that's me. We're having really bad connection issues right now. Could I have everyone disable their video if they're not speaking?
Yes, I'm going to leave mine on.
Yeah.
I'm speaking all the time. Okay, and feel free to just leave your videos off while you're speaking as well.
Appreciate it.
Except I'll just stay on just because that's what I do. Is that good, Mr. Savoy?
Much better.
Perfect, thank you for that. We do not have our LNC representatives tonight, but we have joined a region. We are Region 1 still. We are a super region. We have over 20% of the delegates of convention. And so we have a large region now. We have 2 representatives and 1 alternate. We had Mr. Adam Heyman, who was our rep before. He has stayed our rep. We have Ramon Garcia, who is the secretary of Arizona's state board. And we have Mr. Chatterton, the chair of Michigan, as our alternate. Just speaking really quickly, they have a GoFundMe to help pay for their travel expenses being our representatives. So I'm going to be getting that. I've been getting that link out in a bunch of different places to help fund their travels. We are the party of capitalists, which means we believe in equal exchange for equal work. And I think that while we shouldn't necessarily be making profits off what we're doing, we should be paying people where we can for their time and energy. And there should only be 2 meetings in person with this LNC board. So they have a GoFundMe, and I hope that people will donate for the representation work that they do for us, because it's quite thankless. As everyone on this board already knows, board work tends to be very thankless. Now we'll move on to the board reports. I have nothing for, oh, well, before we move into board reports, I want to make the membership aware that we have working committees. They're not like formal committees or anything. They're committees where we do our work on Monday nights. So we have the finance committee, the marketing committee, the political committee, and the party committee. We work on these committees every Monday night, and we have project management software we're using in this. So going forward from this month forward, every month we're going to be posting our committee reports, because that's showing you all of the work that we're doing together as a party, and showing you the internal structure. We'll still keep the director reports at convention. Each director will give a report. They'll publish it, and they'll give an oral report as well of all of the things they've done in their directorship over the year. But going forward, committee reports are what's going to be posted to the website, so that we can better showcase exactly how we're working towards our goals. I'm very excited about this, and I'm sure everyone's relieved to not have to do board reports. Anyway, so reports of the board. I have nothing further to add to my report. Mr. Gonzalez.
Nothing further to add, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Ms. Spink.
Sorry, Madam Chair. Do you want me to go through the treasurer report or just add on to your report?
Well, if you have any additions that need to be made to the report you submitted, now would be the perfect time. If you have no additions to your report and everything looks good about what you submitted, that's great.
Understood. No changes.
Perfect. Thank you. Also, I think your report is really important for transparency. So going forward in the finance committee, if you would include like your report in that report, that would be really helpful for membership if you think that's appropriate.
Absolutely. Will do.
Thank you. Mr. Secretary.
Nothing to add, ma'am.
Affiliates is vacant. Mr. Luria.
So I do want to give a verbal report, because I think it'll be better to talk about all of this real quick than a written report. Just sort of the state of our races, what we're looking at, and where my recommendations would be for the general party at large to work on for November. So David Aiken is our only two-way state race in state district 31. David is working and has come up with a plan on how to campaign and focus resources. So I think that should be a priority, along with Alicio Gonzalez, who's running for commissioner in Arapahoe County race. I think that is also very important. Our congressional races have also made a lot more of an impact than I will admit I would have guessed when we started all of this and started focusing on a more state and local level. Probably most of you know, our chair, Hannah Goodman, participated in a debate held by the Weld County Republican Women's Group. Greg Lopez did not attend. Now, there was a straw poll done, which is all just Republican insiders, but Hannah took about a third of that vote. There are also a number of people showing online that they voted for Hannah. So at least in the special district outcome, that might be a higher number than I think anyone would really expect from a congressional race, and it's definitely drawn a lot of media attention. James Wiley has also drawn media attention, and Eric Joss. James is in 3, Eric is in CD 8, of how they are leveraging Republicans against each other. And now also, potentially, I helped Michael Vance get his bank account set up on Saturday for his congressional race. There are a lot of angry Republicans angry at Dave. If Dave ends up being the primary winner and ends up staying in this race and running for Congress, I think there's a chance Michael could end up with support that I don't think anyone would necessarily expect from to be given to a libertarian, and we'll sort of tackle that as it comes to it. But we're getting a ton of media attention, and I think we should all be very proud of how our candidates have leveraged for their own political gain. I mean that in a good way, not lying to voters, but actually using their opponents' weaknesses against them. And Hannah did a truly phenomenal job. Hannah, I did finally, Jessica, clip down just your last 2-minute speech there from that. So I can get that to you so you can start using that online if you want.
Yes.
But yeah, sorry,
Thank
go ahead.
you. Thank you. I'm very excited about that. It was quite an honor to be brought to a debate stage with that sort of coverage. I definitely want to thank Ernest from Colorado Politics. It was him that was able to get me on that stage, and I'm just so grateful that he did.
Yeah, it was it was a good moment. We definitely had a good group of libertarians show up and support her. So I think that looked good. And now we just need to, we have some races to focus on. And I think that's what the party members should spend their efforts doing. Because being able to get a solid amount of volunteers and do well in some races and maybe win a race in terms of like Alicia's race will be far more impactful and would probably bring us in more members. And I think also we are taking advantage of and to continue to take advantage of what's going on with Dave Williams and that impact, especially if Dave decides he does not want to step down. I think we should use that to our advantage. We already are and plan on more courting Vlad Archuleta in CD1. If there was any move, my guess is that wouldn't happen until after an election, and I don't know that it will. But my only, to say this out loud, is I don't know how long things will continue with Dave Williams, but as soon as he's gone, if there is a unifying chair, that will put us in a more difficult situation. So I think we should strike while the iron is hot while this is going on.
I think that we've institutionalized the Liberty Pledge. I've made sure to include all the strategic information in my OneDrive as well as the pledges, and I look to update those every election cycle. And I think instead of going to the chair, we should just approach candidates and let it be known that that's what we're offering and let the candidates decide. So I think we can get around whoever is party leadership that way. And we definitely have some cool people helping get signatures. Also, I would love to shout out Mr. Bennett Rutledge was able to secure 2 signed pledges within 1 week. So he's putting in the footwork, and good old Bennett, you can always count on him. And so I want to just say thank you publicly to Mr. Bennett Rutledge for that. And so I think everyone's going to be looking to the LPCO for defining liberty going forward. And I really hope that we've institutionalized that into the party so that when I'm no longer chair, we can still be heavy hitters on the playing field. That's my goal. I want to be a one-term woman and done.
I think a liberty pledge that is handed out and spread to all candidates in Colorado running, no matter what party, would be more effective than a Liberty scorecard. Although that's good too, we obviously have a bias, but I think, if getting concessions and moving things in Liberty is the direction that we want, and if we don't have people, if the major parties can't do it, then we'll work with anyone who can.
Yes.
That's it. Thank you very much for those few minutes.
You're welcome. Ms. Markovich, I know that you're brand new to your position. Do you have any updates for us? And it's fine if you do not, as you're brand new.
I actually do. I was able to secure a donation of our merch from my friend. As long as I can work, I still have to speak with Eli about everything. But yeah, she is willing to donate our first batch of merch for our merch store, so that way it could be 100% profit on that, and then just roll with the merch from there. And I have some other things that are in works, but it's just like party stuff.
Thank you so much. That's super exciting. Well done. Thank you for that. Mr. Vance, any additions to your board report?
I have none.
Thank you. Mr. Williams, do you have any additions to your board report?
Just that it will be in as soon as I can get back to my house and actually use my computer.
Oh, all right. I do know, is my understanding that you're not fully onboarded into your position with your busy schedule over the past, I guess, couple of months. So I'll look forward to you being fully integrated into that position.
Hopefully sooner rather than later. Eli and I were talking about it, trying to get it done this week, hopefully.
Perfect. Thank you. Ms. Steinke, do you have any additions to your board report?
Nothing further to add.
Mr. Gonzalez, I see your hand raised. Sorry, I think I heard it, but I didn't see it. And then, so I see your hand is raised. Mr.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to say I take full responsibility for not promoting or moving forward with the onboarding of Mr. Williams. It'll happen here soon, and it won't happen again. Delays.
No,
Thank you.
that's fine. Schedules have been crazy with the national convention and all of these things. Mr. Aiken, do you have anything to update us with?
Nothing to add to my report, but I would like to thank Ms. Spink for doing the treasurer's report, so we actually have a general ledger. I much appreciate that. Thank you.
She's great.
You're welcome. Thank you, David.
Well done, Ms. Spink. Mr. Savoy, is there any updates that we need to be aware of from your department?
The last like 2 or 3 streams have gone off without a hitch, so it makes sense that today the internet. Not the best stream, but
Well, they can't all be tens.
no.
So there is committee reports on the merchandising committee. Well, we kind of don't really have anything yet on that. I do now. So I know that we need designs. The merch store is up and available. Apparently we've had donation of merch, so that's great. I'm very excited about that. Audit committee is not here. We have no special orders, no unfinished business, but we do have new business. So we need to move to accept the resignation of the former affiliates director, Mr. James Batem. I will entertain a motion to accept the resignation.
I so move.
Thank you. That's been so
Second.
moved. Do we have a second?
Second.
Perfect. I don't know what I did.
Who was the seconder, by the way?
You could put me down, Alicia
I'll say-
Gonzalez.
Yeah,
Okay.
you could.
Are there any objections to accepting this resignation of Mr. James Batem? Hearing none, that passes. Next would be the resolution from Steinke.
Yeah, that was the resolution that was brought. Andrew brought it to my attention.
It's assigned to Ms. Steinke. Ms. Steinke, are you ready?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, is this the okay, yes,
Yeah.
okay. Let's go. So I move the following resolution. Whereas the Libertarian Party of Colorado bylaws grant authority over presidential candidate nominations to the board. Whereas the national party's bylaws do not specifically compel states to submit paperwork to their secretaries of state on behalf of the national party candidate. Whereas the purpose of the Libertarian Party of Colorado, as outlined in Article 2 of our bylaws, is to provide leadership and direction for the libertarian movement in Colorado and communicate the message and positions of the party. Whereas Libertarian Party of Colorado understands purposes are partially achieved by understanding how power actually functions in the country and using that understanding to oppose and counter-signal the regime in real time. Whereas the nationally nominated ticket has repeatedly failed to acknowledge the regime's true role in critical issues, such as COVID-19 masking and distancing, so-called gender-affirming care, and the subversion of the rule of law against former President Trump, which began with intelligence agency crafted lies about Russian collusion and has devolved into Soviet-level lawfare. Whereas the nationally nominated ticket has shown a consistent unwillingness to challenge the expansion of the state power and has failed to provide a clear, principled libertarian alternative to current policies. Whereas such stances are incompatible with the psychology of individuals who understand the workings of power and seek to oppose it. Whereas the Libertarian Party of Colorado's electoral strategy aims to leverage our position to secure concessions that advance liberty and undermine the regime in unwinnable ways, while building a local bench of elected officials who can eventually win. Whereas nominating a candidate who cannot credibly oppose the regime is fundamentally incompatible with the values and strategy of the Libertarian Party of Colorado. Be it resolved that the Libertarian Party of Colorado will not submit paperwork to place the Oliver Turmat ticket on the Colorado presidential ballot. Be it further resolved that the Libertarian Party of Colorado will explore all available options in accordance with its existing electoral strategy. Be it further resolved that the Libertarian Party of Colorado calls on the Libertarian National Committee to either decertify the Oliver Turmat ticket or permit states to pursue their own electoral strategies to maximize libertarian outcomes as authorized by the national bylaws.
Thank you, Ms. Steinke. Mr. Buss, you were submitted the language. Were you able to send that to each director to look over?
No.
If you saw that or not.
Report of child drag shows, and that's just another form of grooming. That's extremely concerning. I see that as another violation of the NAP. The agenda item previously, right before this, was the resignation of Mr. Beetham. Mr. Beetham resigned specifically because of our nomination of Mr. Oliver and Mr. Turmat for the presidential and vice presidential nomination. I've seen him go. We are seeing other libertarians go, particularly gay libertarians, leave. I'm extremely concerned. Officer falsely identifying a suspect and chaining handcuffing an innocent man to his own kitchen. There's a lot of issues with this ticket. I'm extremely concerned about what this is going to do and what this is going to do for us over the upcoming years. We had Gary Johnson, we had Joe Jorgensen, now we have Chase Termont. That's I think this is going to be a problem for us reputationally.
Thank you, Mr. Vance.
Thank you.
Mr. Marinovich, your hand is up.
Yeah. Regardless of how anyone is their opinion on the ticket, what is objectively clear is that if you look at our branding, messaging strategy, communication strategy, political strategy, philosophical strategy, is completely different than theirs. It makes difference for it to be that ticket. And if you just look objectively at the branding and marketing and communication and strategy, if you were a business, selling wrenches and then
him off the ballot, or not putting him on the ballot. I personally would not like to not have Libertarian on the presidential ballot in Colorado. There were discussions at the convention about purposes of the party, and we can all, agree, disagree on what is in life in the party, board members, whatnot. But I don't know that we're ever going to be elected president for a very long time. And what I see as presidential candidate is a person trying to win 2% of every state. And I think it'd be really cool if we put it out there where we are trying to get 50% of our state. We are unique. Jordan touched on our political philosophies, etc. But we're also unique in the fact that we are very heavily manipulated, maybe not us personally, by the state. We're living almost in a communist state here. So we are different. We're different in philosophy. We're different in circumstance. And I think we could get a lot of attention if we just don't put Chase on it. And it's nothing against him. I'm not even attacking his beliefs on this because, again, I thought they all stopped. Forgive my unprofessional language while we're streaming here, but I think it'd be really fun. I think, we're all aware there's very bad, evil candidates on the ballot from the Republican and Democrat Party. And I feel like we need a Hail Mary, throw something out there and call on the disenfranchised and the disheartened and the people that are just so tired of these bad people.
Miss Lauren. Kirsten.
If I could just chime in and address a couple of things. I just want to say that this is important for branding and messaging, but truly much more important than that, it's about principle. Far more than branding and messaging. And the principle are the issues that we have with this ticket, with the Oliver Tramet ticket. And then if I could just maybe address Allison's concern of libertarian. Like it's very hard to say that he's a libertarian. So we're not missing out on having a libertarian presidential candidate. So that's not the resolution, but that is my personal opinion.
Thank you. Mr. Gonzalez?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I wanted to clarify a couple of things. In my opinion, the language that was used in the resolution has absolutely nothing to do with the sexual orientation of any of our candidates. For any libertarian, whether they be a strict libertarian or even those who identify as libertine, would agree that consenting adults can do whatever they want and engage in whatever relationship they want. And to echo what Ms. Kirsten Lauren had said, this has more to do with principle. And in my humble opinion, that is not reflective of anyone else on the board, I do not think that certain things done to, let's say, children or to other things of those who can't consent would uphold, or actually, in my opinion, they actually violate the non-aggression principle, which goes against absolutely everything that we stand for. Those are just my 2 cents. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez. So we've had the resolution read to us. Have you all had a chance to look at it? Or how do you, basically I'm asking for a second.
I'll second the resolution.
Second. Oh.
So we've had a resolution and a second. Is there any objection to the passing of this resolution? Hearing none, that passes. Moving on to the resolution dropped in the chat by Mr. Gonzalez and inspired by our guest speaking out against the 310 ballot initiative. Mr. Gonzalez, could you go ahead and read that for us again?
Yes, thank you for the opportunity, Madam Chair. The title of this resolution is a resolution opposing the implementation of ranked choice voting. Whereas ranked choice voting, also known as ballot initiative 310, undermines the integrity and simplicity of the democratic process in Colorado. Whereas ranked choice voting can lead to confusion among voters as it requires them to rank candidates in order of preference, potentially disenfranchising those who are unfamiliar with the system. Whereas ranked choice voting may result in the election of candidates who are not the most preferred choice of the majority, as lower ranked votes can ultimately determine the winner. Whereas ranked choice voting often necessitates complex and expensive voting systems, which could strain limited electoral resources and increase administrative burdens. Whereas ranked choice voting may exacerbate political polarization by encouraging voters to select extreme candidates as their top choices rather than compromising on more moderate options. Whereas ranked choice voting could hinder minor party representation by diluting the impact of block voting and undermining the ability of minor party candidates to build broad coalitions. Therefore, be it resolved that the Libertarian Party of Colorado opposes the ballot initiative and or adoption of ranked choice voting and urges policymakers to preserve the traditional, I call it plurality-based voting, but I call it the traditional voting system, which is straightforward, transparent, and best reflects the will of the electorate.
Is there any discussion? Do we have a second?
Second.
We have the resolution and the second. Is there any objection to passing this resolution to essentially condemn the ballot initiative, the 310 ballot initiative? All right, hearing none, that passes.
Woohoo!
So that was some business. Hey guys. So we have more announcements. I would just like to say that I had such a great time running for LNC vice chair. While, of course, everyone who runs for an office, of course, they want to win, I'm certainly perfectly fine in that I did not win. And Colorado is really actually the winners in my election loss, because now you have my full and, again, undivided attention as usual. So thank you to all of our delegates that showed up to the national convention and put in the hard work in the trenches, which was grueling and awful and almost never ending. And thank you to all of our other people who were not delegates that showed up, but also Miss Spink, who ran for treasurer, and a few other people like John Kilson, who showed up and supported the team, and all of the delightful people that we met at that time. So thank you to everyone who was able to attend our national convention. Thank you, Mr. Atwood, for being so fun at the debate. I hope we get on another debate stage. I think we make a good team. Are there any other announcements or public comment? Mr. Atwood? Well, Mr. Savoy, I'm actually not hearing him.
Yeah, do you? Here's Mr. Savoy.
Yes, I can hear you now.
Pleasure being on stage, as I said before, and look forward to being on stage with you again. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Atwood. Is there any other announcements or comments? All right, well, with that, we're going to adjourn at 8:06 p.m. The next board meeting will be the second Monday of July.
July 8th.
Pardon?
July 8th.
July 8th. The physical meeting will be at the Independence Institute at 7 p.m. And of course, there's always the online option. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time this evening. And with that, we are adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Good night.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ta-ta for now.
Turning